everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Lauren, this is Zoe, and I'm excited to share some big news. I'm pregnant and due in March. Because of that, my recent classes have been more on the mellow side, and I've slowed down my video releases to about every other week. So thank you in advance for your patience and understanding as I take more time to respond to comments and adjust my pace during this period. Before we start today's practice, I want to emphasize the importance of honoring your body and the changes it's going through. If you're new to yoga, I recommend consulting with your physician prior to doing really any new physical activity. And if you have been practicing yoga for a long time, keep in mind that pregnancy causes significant hormonal changes. One key hormone, relaxin, increases flexibility and laxity in your body. So now is not the time to push your range of motion beyond its normal limits. In fact, you may even want to back off slightly to protect yourself from overstretching. Now, every pregnancy is different, but my first trimester was pretty brutal. Nausea, fatigue, food aversions, you name it. It was a real challenge to stay active aside from short walks with my dogs, meditation, and very minimal movement. So vigorous vinyasa flows, inversions, or anything with a lot of up and down was pretty much out of the picture. To honor those of you who are experiencing something similar, today's practice is a 10-minute prenatal restorative yoga class designed for the first trimester. We'll focus on grounding, relaxation, and nurturing your energy with gentle movements. We'll avoid deep twists, back bends, forward folds, and core work, giving your body the space it needs to rest and restore. Before we begin, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future class releases. I also recommend grabbing 2 blocks and a bolster. And if you don't have those items, you can substitute some books for the blocks and pillows or couch cushions for the bolster. If you would like to purchase props like mine, I will link my Amazon storefront with my recommendations. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start in a Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound angle. But as I mentioned at the beginning, if you're experiencing or have experienced nausea in the first trimester, then being a little bit reclined and lifted or elevated will help so you're not feeling so nauseous. So you're gonna take your block underneath your head. I like the highest setting, but you can always drop it down a notch or two. And then you'll take your other block, level 2, across your back. So there's a little bit of space for your neck. Then you're gonna take your bolster on top of that and just be mindful that you don't, tip it over. I find it helpful to grab the first block with your hands and kind of get your upper back on top of that. So there's lots of options you can take with the legs. You can lengthen them out. You can plant the feet as wide as your mat and knock your knees in. You can also bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. But again, just be mindful of the flexibility in your hips. You can try taking your feet further forward so it's less deep external hip rotation and flexion of those hips. If you want to grab extra pillows, you can prop them under the knees as well. I'm going to opt for feet planted as wide as the mat, knees knocking in, so I get a little bit of that internal hip rotation. And then just relax your arms either by your side, or maybe it feels nice to rest your hands on your belly. Take a slow breath in through your nose. It doesn't need to be really forceful or aggressive, just slow breath in. And maybe exhale out your mouth or out the nose. Again, breath in. And breath out. Again, inhale slowly. And exhale completely. Take a few more cycles of breath here in this shape. Take 3 more cycles of breath. from here, you're going to slowly roll to the right side of your body, and you're going to move your blocks to the side, and I'm going to choose to lie on top of the bolster, but you can just lie flat on the ground, maybe even taking a block underneath the bolster under your head so it's a little bit elevated. Take 3 more cycles of breath. Take your time as you slowly press up. And as you do so, you're going to come onto your hands and knees facing towards your bolster and maybe your block if it's under your head. Now, if you're in your first trimester, you can probably take the knees together or not as wide as how I'm taking them, but I'm already in my second trimester, so I'm going to take my knees wide. And you're going to come into child's pose. Now, you can take child's pose without any support, just extending the arms and resting your forehead to the mat. You can also take your child's pose supported with your head above your heart, just like when you were on your side. You can do this by kind of cradling the block underneath your head and resting your forehead or turning your head to one side on that bolster. I'm going to turn my head to the side. And you can relax your body weight down onto that support. And by doing this, if you're a little bit further along and you have your belly showing a bit, you're not compressing your belly on the floor, and the bolster is soft enough to where it's kind of like a little cushion for my belly. Notice where you feel sensation as you breathe. Perhaps expansion in your belly, your waist, and your back as you inhale. And a gentle kind of softening of your body weight down towards that support as you exhale. And if you have your head turned to one side, you can go ahead and flip your direction, turning your head to the other side, just so that you don't get a little crick in your neck from being in one direction. Take a few more cycles of breath here. Take one more deep breath in and out. And then slowly press back up onto your hands and knees. And you can take the side lying position on the other side. And I'm now lying on my left side of the body, a little lower. There we go. Just letting your body rest on that support.
Give yourself a few more moments in this shape. Again, the point here is to let go and let be. Take 3 more cycles of breath. And then slowly press yourself back up.
And we're going to end with Shavasana. So you can choose to lie flat on your back for Shavasana, but again, having your head above your heart may feel really nice. So we're going to come into, or what I will give you the option for, is that reclined Shavasana, but supported. So instead of taking it as high as it was before, I have my block underneath my head level 2 and the one underneath my back level 1. And then the bolster is going to rest on top of that. And then you'll slowly, without tipping those blocks, recline on top of them. Take your arms by your side or on your belly. Close the eyes. And finding stillness here, not just in the body, but perhaps in the mind. Finding a state of complete relaxation. Now you are more than welcome to stay here for as long as you need. And if you're doing so, you can just let the video run all the way through. But if you feel ready to move on the rest of your day, just slowly inviting some movement in the body, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, circling the wrists and the ankles, and then the other direction. Maybe it feels nice to take a full body stretch. Nice big sigh, nice big yawn. And then releasing the arms down by your side. And before you get up, just take a moment to thank yourself for honoring your body, slowing down, and giving your body the love and care and nurture that it needs to nurture the baby that you're growing inside your body and all the changes that your body is going through. As you feel ready, go ahead and plant your feet to the floor one at a time. Roll to one side of your body and gently press yourself up. Thank you so much for joining me for this 10-minute restorative prenatal yoga practice. I will be releasing other prenatal yoga videos and kind of moving trimester by trimester. Please check out my playlists as I continue to add more to them. And thank you once again for your patience and understanding as I'm releasing less classes than usual and responding a lot slower to comments than usual. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on future classes that I will be releasing. And if you would like to purchase props like mine for future classes, so I will link my Amazon storefront and all my recommendations for yoga props, and beyond, you'll see all my other links there as well. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you next time.